Thank you very much. Should I start? I think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to start my presentation in English, and then I will change into Persian. So, what I'm going to present is more of a publicity presentation for big data analytics, which I think is going to become very important in Iran within the next few years, and I want to invite people to start working on it. Over the last 100 years, cities have seen many economic changes, and it is really the proximity to knowledge which is the reason people choose to live in cities. It used to be amenities. It used to be because you have hospitals and jobs in cities. But these days it's because everything that is worth happening happens in cities. So it's information which is the main driving force of the city, is at the view expressed here. And also it has been said that information is like the oil of the 21st century, and analytics is the combustion engine. So I think what will happen, and many people are predicting that this will happen, is that as the cities grow, a huge information resource will become available in cities, and we need to get this information, and we can get a lot of data on how people behave in cities. This is a list of largest cities in the world, and Tehran is not in this list of cities, although Tehran with 12 million is definitely higher than the lowest city listed here, which is Calcutta. The problem is with definition of a city. This is question is how much built-up area. The definition is built-up urban area, which has been used to define a city. So the other paradigm which becomes important is smart cities. What is meant by a smart city? A smart city is a city in which use of smart computing technologies have made critical infrastructure components and services of a city. This may include city administration, education, healthcare, public safety, real estate, transportation, other utilities. It's the interconnected and intelligent use of this data in the city, which is the main definition of a smart city. There are various smart cities in the world, which here is a list of 10 smartest cities in North America. And then you can have a list of smart cities across the world. These are cities which have won a prize for being a smart city. And the interesting thing is that the very first one is Singapore, 1999. So something like 18 years ahead of everywhere else. And that is reflected in my next slide. Singapore is the very first nation to be named as a smart nation. They have a project launched for making a smart nation. I want to bring in another paradigm, and that is the fourth industrial revolution. the fourth industrial revolution is predicted to happen right now, according to the World Economic Forum report. And the index of readiness for 4IR is calculated based on many indices. And Singapore is number one in the world. And in the region, I have collected some countries around us, and you can see that Iran is pretty low. 92 means that we are definitely not ready at all. So movement in Iran must start towards smartness, the application of smart technologies to make a city smart. And I'm going to talk about some applications which I think are possible. I was happy to see in this conference that some applications have been made in Iran already, but mainly in the banking sector. Smart applications in the banking sector have already started in Iran many years ago, but I don't think that any of them can be counted as a smart city application yet. They are data science applications. So smart city projects can be on transport, they can be on energy, they can be on buildings, commercial and industrial, on waste management, on water management, on smart pollution management, which we could possibly want to have in Iran. There are some smart traffic management applications which definitely are needed in Tehran when you look at the Tehran traffic, but it is lacking. Some cases where smart traffic management have been installed can be examples of Switzerland, Melbourne, Australia, France, United Kingdom, and USA. This is just a short list of what I have just looked at internet and found. But a study of traffic management in Iran is this particular example. Here you can see a map of Isfahan. I hope it's sort of visible on the bottom. You can see the famous river of Isfahan running through the city. And the question is about traffic flow. And this algorithm has already been mentioned many times. A k-means clustering study was done on Isfahan traffic. This is the sort of thing which I became very interested suddenly as I noticed that in the previous talk that is another aspect of the same question has been posed in Beijing by looking at taxi traffic. So the question is this. What is the geographical distribution of citizens as they use public transportation? This is a question which a city manager, somebody in the transport section of a municipality has to answer when they organize bus routes or taxi routes within a city. And they obviously do this by thinking that, okay, there are these centers of population, centers of shops, and we arrange bus routes among them. However, if you do an analysis of the public distribution, you see that in fact these routes are not correctly adopted. This study concludes that the there is, in fact, no need for a BRT system. There is this tendency that just because there is a BRT system in Tehran, which itself is an imitation of a system abroad, one in Isfahan will answer, and the proposed BRT system will actually not answer the needs of Isfahan. These are the kind of results which are of great help in planning a city, or what I have termed my talk as the needs of city management. Before I go further, this study also involved another aspect, which is a very interesting aspect. Suppose for some reason you want to disrupt traffic flow in a junction. Something has to be installed, and some junctions, for example, in the city will have interrupted flow. How disruptive that is to the total traffic flow of the city. You have no idea. So if the assumption is that if it is a junction in the middle of the city, it will be more disruptive. If it is away from the center, it will be less disruptive. The answer of this study came out to be that, in fact, it depends on the interconnectivity. You look at it as a graph, a network graph of this traffic flow, and you find that there are certain nodes that you must never touch, because when you touch it, the entire flow in the city will be disrupted. We have seen this in our everyday life in Tehran, that sometimes you go out and you suddenly see that there is a traffic. Like this morning, it's a holiday. I didn't expect there to be any traffic coming to the hotel, but there was a huge traffic. So I had to reroute myself. Somebody starts some work because it's a holiday on a junction, and total disruption of traffic happens. Another smart application is a smart energy application. A lot of energy consumption happens and carbon emission happens in cities. So a smart energy application in a city will be very important. This is something that we are missing in Iran. A project has started. Here is the link you can see in Kashan University for a grid project. The use of energy or the use of electricity in the city is very much decided by arbitrary plans, not on basis of need. And in fact, by doing this project in Kashan University, it is hoped that the use of energy and hence the carbon emission in Kashan will reduce. This picture here you see on the right-hand side of the image is the dustbin at the end of the road where I live. This is the usual story every weekend, because the dustbin is incapable of responding to the needs of the population. There are, of course, such dustbins which are empty in other parts of the city. There is an obvious and simple solution. Solar-powered waste compacting bins, which also inform the municipality that I am full, come and take me away. Instead of having a routine which empties all the bins at the same time or on an algorithm, you have a response based on calls for waste management. The other problem which is very important in our country is the water management. We have shortage on water, the total available surface water is very low in the whole of the country. It has always been low. Iran is a dry country, but these years, because of global changes, this has been worse. However, when you go and check the WPDX, you see that there is no data on Iran. Doing a data science project on water resources in Iran is a goal of mine, which I have yet to find sources of data for it. Here is a map of Iran. You see that there are some areas which are of extreme dryness, but then they are also of less population. There are areas where, predictable areas, as you can see, in the north by the Caspian Sea, and some in the west of Iran, where there is enough water for the population. But most of Iran suffers from lack of population, for lack of water. Towards the end of my talk, I want to attract your attention to the fact that if you look at the southwest corner of Iran, it is particularly low on water resources. The tip of Persian Gulf and southeast of Iran is very low on water resources, and this is something which I'm going to come back to. So the basic idea is to track water usage on various households, supervise and find the patterns of water usage, and work on the basis of that to give a better water management to a city. Singapore, again, has an extremely smart water management with these gauges which sense the amount of water usage in Singapore, and has been extremely successful, although they don't really need water management as much as we do. So these are questions which are important in water management. Leak management, which is exceedingly important in especially Tehran, it can easily be done by using these acoustic sensors. The water quality monitoring is probably a secret map, but I have seen it, dividing Tehran into something like 100 regions, and water quality in some of these regions is critically bad. It's completely undrinkable water. It is not true that water quality across Tehran is exactly the same. You can monitor that using water quality monitors. And of course, automated water reading is possible. Maybe it is already installed in some parts of the city of Tehran. But this is a possibility that can be looked after. And also, water conservation can be linked to this system, and a lot of water usage can be controlled. I rushed through these slides because I want to point out to some other aspects. Here is the map of water resources in Iran, and you can see again that southwest of Iran is particularly bad. So now this combines with something else, the dust storm. It is something else that I think that data science can help. This is how a dust storm starts. Some of you have experienced, some have not. I have experienced the dust storm. Basic problem is that the dust storms are global problems. Here is a NASA image, 23rd of February 2017, which happened just before Isfand months of Iran, which if you remember, there was a dust storm reported. So dust storms do not necessarily come from local sources. We have local sources for dust storms, but this particular one, which came to Iran, came from China. This is what happens. That February 2017, dust storm hit Ahvaz, and this is what happened to Ahvaz. This is another sandstorm, which is a year before sandstorm in Lorestan in May 2016. And if you look at the international standards, you see that this is a completely hazardous index for air quality in Lorestan. Now the question is, how can we deal with dust storm by data science? First of all, a tracking system can be used, satellite data. Secondly, you need some sensor data based on the fronts from which sandstorms come, and this gives you a sensor data. And thirdly, you need data analytics to combine all this data and create predictions. February 24, 2015, a sandstorm hit Tehran. The international dust storm early warning system failed. You can see in this paper, which I have here, that an early warning system which is based on international efforts did not give us enough. So it means that we have to do something. This is the international system, the sandstorm warning system at World Meteorological Organization, but these models may contribute to reduce risk, but it doesn't work unless we also do something locally. You need really local system to organize it. An organization has been made because Middle East is in fact part of a band in the whole of the world from Middle East and Africa, Northern Africa, and an Asian node, which is really the source of dust storm, which starts in Gobi Desert in China and then moves westwards. This is the collection of offices which are cooperating to produce an advanced warning system for dust storms. But why do we really need to look at this problem? This is what happens to a city in which problems are not addressed. Of course, the type of problems which affected Detroit are very different. This is central Detroit, which has been reduced to a field, a picture taken in May 2013. The question of city resilience is very important. So I want to pose a new question. Given the double threat which is happening to the southwest of Iran, lack of water and dust storm attacks, how long do you think that these cities will survive? I think not very long. These cities will be depopulated. Various city resilience indexes have been measured across the world. You can do this analysis for these cities in the southeast of Iran, but city resilience for this area in the southeast of Iran, if I can, this is the area which is suffering both from lack of water and attack of dust storms. This is a big problem. So resilience has to do with other factors as well: industrialization, joblessness, shortage of various amenities in cities, centralization of all the government powers in Tehran, everything. There are other factors as well, but these two top factors are extremely important, and they will affect the southeast of Iran, and I'm sure that if we don't do anything about it, some cities will be depopulated. My message is that modern technologies can help by having some sort of simulation of dust storm, which these huge simulations do need an HPC technologies. But I was happy. I was really happy to see the talk by Professor Al-Haji that with small resources you can also do some of this data analysis. We need a simulation. We need data analysis. We need sensors to be able to predict and model dust storms in south of Iran. We also need methods to manage water resources in the south of Iran to protect these cities against depopulation. So it's a program which has many components, and I'm inviting as many people as I can to take part of any component of this that they can. These are some actions which have taken place elsewhere for exactly the same sort of problem. So we are also not alone in these actions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Professor Rouhani for addressing very important topic in your environment today. And may I ask for any question? Or
I'm happy to answer questions in Persian. So
okay. So yeah, that lady. Yeah.
There is a question in the back there.
Okay, Dr. Rouhani, have you been able to get any foundation for a practical project on your like waste management or water management?
Unfortunately, no. I haven't had any foundation helping yet. The problem is what you might call an interdisciplinary problem, and therefore it's difficult to get any one foundation to come in and start supporting this project. But I think always that some movement from universities can trigger help. For example, a simulation of dust storm, for example, is based on Iranian sources would be interesting.
Okay, thank you. You can ask your question in Persian.
Fine. در مورد مدیریت ترافیک می‌خواستم سوال بپرسم. من کردم ما بخوایم ویژوالایز کنیم این رو روی مپ و بخوایم مپ کنیم ایونتی رو که توی مکان خاصی رخ داده و روی نقشه نمایش بدیم. آیا دیتا ست کاملی وجود داره که ترانسپورتیشن ها، خیابون ها و در واقع مناطق دارای پوشش گیاهی یا مناطق آبی ایران، حالا علل خصوص تهران رو با لتیتود و لانتیتود داشته باشه؟ سوال اولم اینه. و سوال دومم این که وارنینگ سیستم ها تا جایی که من می‌دونم باید والنرابیلیتی رو پیش بینی کنن و بعد حالا یه آلارمی براش ست بکنن. میخوام بدونم که کدوم دسته از الگوریتم‌ها میتونه توی زمینه به ما کمک بکنه.
خیلی ممنون. سوالتون خیلی وارده و مسئله مهمی هم در کشور ما هست که من اتفاقا چند وقت پیش در یک جلسه در سازمان فناوری اطلاعات کشور شرکت کردم راجع به Open Data Policy. بحث سر اینه که مقدار زیادی داده وجود داره ولی متاسفانه مؤسسات کشور این بحث اوپن دیتا پالیسی رو قبول ندارن و دیتاشون رو مخصوص خودشون نگه میدارن. انواع و اقسام مجوزها نیاز هست. اصلا سازمان آب ظاهراً اطلاعات کاملی روی کلیه منابع آب کشور داره. ببین فقط بارش باران کافی نیست، شما باید تروپوت نهرها، رودخانه‌ها، این میزان تبخیر، اینا همه رو داشته باشید، شبکه قنات‌ها، واسه اینکه بتونید یه سیستم، یک مدل مناسبی از میزان آب سطحی قابل دسترس رو تخمین بزنید و تحولاتش رو بتونید مدل کنید. مشکلی که شما بهش اشاره میکنید مشکل خیلی مهمیه. دیتا وجود داره ولی قابل دسترس نیستش. دیتاهای مختلف، مثلا حتی مثلا دیتای موبایل رو هم دیدیم که برای مدیریت ترافیک میشه استفاده کرد، در سخنرانی قبلی اشاره شد بهش. ولی من خودم همینطور دنبال دیتا هستم و هیچ دیتا ستی رو پیدا نمی‌کنم. مشکل لااقل بنده در برخورد با این مسئله نبود سخت افزار و نبود توان پردازش نبوده، مشکل نبود دیتا بوده.
ببخشید جسارتاً سوال دوم، قوت وجود اوپن دیتا، دیتای اوپن سورسی توی اینترنت وجود داره به اسم NGA. حالا این چیزی که من دیدم که اطلاعات چندین کشور رو، فکر می‌کنم حدود 150 کشور رو داره همراه با لاتیتود لانگیتود، ولی کامل نیست یا حداقل شامل کوچه‌ها یا مثلا خیابون‌های فرعی نیست. دیتایی که شما دارید می‌فرمایید ممکنه مثلا دیتایی باشه که بخواد از طریق سازمان‌ها داخل ایران مثل سازمان شهرداری یا جای دیگه تامین بشه. من مثلا یه دیتای اوپن سورس می‌خوام همون جایی که
بله، اون دیتای نقشه های ایران یا دیتای مپ کشور وجود داره، اینکامپلیته. مثلا خونه من کوچه‌ش اصلا توش نیست، نتیجتاً من روی مپ گوگل خودم هومم رو یک کوچه بالاتر زدم، چاره ای نیستش چون نیستش. اینکامپلیت بودن دیتای ایرانی اشکال داره، ولی این صرفا نقشه است، کافی نیست واسه این نوع مطالعات. شما احتیاج به دیتای داینامیک دارید، مثلا احتیاج به این هستش که آدم ببینه به چه نحوی حرکت جمعیت در داخل شهر انجام میشه، کجاهای شهر در چه ساعات روز تمرکز جمعیت دارن. این نوع دیتا را برای استخراج اطلاعات لازمه و من خیلی گشتم و هیچ گونه دیتا ست که از این نوع اطلاعات توش داشته باشه رو ندارم. حالا من نتونستم پیدا.
سوال دوم.
بله. سوال دومتون یادآوری بفرمایید.
عرض کردم وارنینگ سیستم ها دو تا جایی که من اطلاع دارم باید الگوریتم پیش‌بینی داشته باشن. بله این هم نکته خیلی مهمیه که ببینید اون چیزی که دوست داریم ما وجود داشته باشه ولی وجود نداره اینه که حداقل یه سیمولیشن ساده داشته باشید که وقتی یک داست استورم میخوره به یک شهری مثل اهواز چه اختلالاتی در شهر به وجود میاره. ما الان اصلا جواب این سوال رو نمیدونیم. میدونیم چه اتفاقات بدی میفته، مثلا ما میدونیم که بعضی از پست‌های برق از کار میافتن، ما میدونیم که مثلا مردم دیگه نمیتونن تو ایستگاه اتوبوس وایسن منتظر اتوبوس، یه چیزای کلی اینطوری میدونیم. ولی یه سیمولیشن خوب، حتی اگر یه سیمولیشن ساده، وقتی این کلمه خوب رو من میتونم تخفیف بدم توش، وجود داشته باشه که یه داست استورم که میاد میخوره به یک شهری به بزرگی اهواز، کجاهای شهر شروع میکنن به مشکل پیدا کردن. چون مسئله واقعا مسئله دمیج نیست، مسئله خرابی نیستش، مسئله سر اختلال در زندگی عادیه. بله اتومبیلتون روش یه بند انگشت خاک میشینه ولی خب فردا شلنگ میگیری پاکش میکنی، این زیاد مهم نیست. مسئله سر اینه که سیستم برق رسانی از کار میفته، سیستم تلفن از کار میفته، ولی از کجاها، به چه دلایل. یه همچین شبیه سازی ساده ای هم ما الان نداریم که جاش خالیه. و بنابراین سوال شما خیلی وارده، مسئله سر وانرابیلیتیه و ممکنه که مثلا فرض کنید اصلا شهر تهران در بیاد که وانرابل نیست، که بعید میدونم، ولی
مثلا فرض کنید در بیاد که مناطق کشاورزی زیاد وانربل نیستن، بنابراین به اونجا ارلی وارنینگ دادن احتیاجی نیستش.
Okay, thank you. Another question, yeah, that gentleman, yeah. You can ask in Persian, yeah, if you want. Just a moment, yeah.
شما فرمودید که سازمان آب دیتا رو کامل داره، اما
البته به من گفتن کامل داره، من که ندیدم. بله.
هر یک در لغت مجوزها و اینا نمیتونید بگیم. چرا به جای اینکه بخوایم دیتا رو ازشون بگیریم، این پروژه ها رو تو خود سازمان آب تعریف نکنید، دیتا خودشون رو همونجا استفاده نکنید که نیازمند اون مجوزها نباشید. بعد شاید اطلاعاتی که شما از اون تحلیل بیگ دیتا میتونید بهشون داخل خودمون مجموعه بدیم، تشویقش میکنه که شاید بخوان دیتا رو کامل کنن، قدرشون که دیتایی که دارن هم دقیق جمع‌آوری نشده، تا تحلیل نشده، ممکنه ایده‌ای نداشته باشن که چه نتایجی میتونه بشه.
بله، ایده خیلی خوبیه. حالا یه همچین پروژه‌ای رو دارم دنبال میکنم، وقتی که موفق شد گزارش میدم. متشکرم.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rouhani. Please admire him again. And